I created a wooden Bluetooth speaker for under $30 and I'm going to explain to you step by step how you can do it by yourself. Some time ago I was scrolling down on YouTube and found something that held my attention. It was a video from a guy showing how he made a Bluetooth speaker from PVC pipes. The idea was simple but the end result was amazing. So, after watching it, I decided to give it a try. I bought a PVC pipe, heated it up, and tried to mold it into something. However, I gave up the PVC idea later because it wasn't simple as it seems. You gotta have great crafty skills to mold it correctly, and that comes from practicing a lot, something that I really don't have. That's why I decided to delegate to a machine the manufacture of the enclosure. My initial idea was to produce it using a 3D printer, but I don't have one of these tools and the 3D print service I found aren't shipped. So I kept searching and finally decided I would use laser cutting MDF. Now, if you don't know what MDF is or you aren't familiar with it, I'll give you a brief explanation. MDF is the acronym of medium density fiberboard, an engineered material made from wood fibers. So basically you pick wood residues, transform them into fibers and add wax and resin binder, and then squeeze it up at high pressure and temperature to produce panels. Later you can use these panels the way you want. The most common application is the furniture industry, but you can also use these panels in your own project because they are very versatile. As I told you earlier, I used a laser cutting machine to cut down the MDF the way I need it. To achieve that, you must design your project into 2D and export it to the tool. And now I'll explain to you how to do it the right way. To design the soundbox, I used Fusion 360. If you don't know, Fusion 360 is a CAD, CAM, and PCB software developed by Autodesk. By the way, this video is not sponsored by Autodesk. I just told you about Fusion because I use it and it's a great tool. So after opening the program, I started drawing sketches and extruding them to create the 3D object. At this time, I knew the main measurements of the box because I had already defined the electronics components I would use. I won't tell you the length of every line because I put a link in the description which you can find the project files. The link goes to a GitHub repository that I hope will help you build your own wooden Bluetooth speaker. I finished the design and sent the 2D drawings to a laser cutting service. They got the DXF file, put it in the machine and sent me the final MDF. They charged me around $4 US. I used bitumen colors to paint the MDF. If you don't know about this, it's a soluble in water paint for MDF crafts. I paid $2 and it's definitely worth the price. It gives your panels a wooden look that I personally think is beautiful. The last part of the design was to apply EVA foam at the back of each MDF section. It's an important step to make sure the box is well sealed. After explaining to you about the speaker design, it's time to show you the electronics, what components I used, how much they cost, and how to wire up everything. Let's get started with the audio receiver board. I bought for $2 the MHM38 Bluetooth audio receiver module. You can connect to this board two speakers that range from 3 to 5 watts and from 2 to 8 ohm each. To supply the Bluetooth module, I use a rechargeable battery that goes from 3.7 to 4.2 volts. It cost me around $7. I also soldered in the battery pack a charging and protection module called TP4056. It costs less than $1 and has a micro USB port to connect the charger. Two 5-watt 4-ohm speakers were attached to the Bluetooth module. They were the most expensive components, costing $6 each. The last thing I added to the secret is this little 2-position switch that is located between the audio board and the battery. Now I'll show you the diagram. You can find this file in the GitHub repository I mentioned before. link in the description. Hi my friends, I would like to thank you for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed this lesson and learned something valuable from me. Any feedback that you have is welcome here. But before finishing this video, I want to remind you one more time that there is a GitHub repository link in the description where you can find all the files I created to complete this project. You can also find a complete list of every component I bought and how much they cost. So what are you waiting for? Go ahead and check that out. And last but not least, I want to show you off some mistakes I did. The first one is that I should have paid close attention at creating the IVA font so the MDF pieces would have fitted perfectly. The other mistake is that I should have made these holes larger, just a bit, so the speakers would work better. I modified the original files and now the holes are 38mm in diameter. I think it's a great number because I use a 40mm speaker, so it will work really well. The last mistake I will point out is this, the charger port. The square I drew isn't the best solution I could apply, so I redesigned it in order to make the charger plug and the module to fit better. And that's it for today's video. Thanks for watching and I hope this lesson was helpful to you. See you in the next video.